Hey guys, so for this drawing, I wanted to do a special drawing. It's a fusion of Bakugou and Kirishima from My Hero Academia. I thought this would be more challenging than just drawing another anime character. Of course, there's so many characters that I like, but I haven't really drawn. So yeah, um, so this is basically me trying to fuse together Bakugou and Kirishima. It was a bit difficult, especially for the hair part. The costume itself is pretty simple. So yeah, but I actually thought it took me quite some time to think about the quirk and actually how I wanted to draw it. So basically, Kirishima's quirk is hardening, which makes his skin as hard as rocks. He can change the density of his skin, which is super cool. He's my favorite character because he's not necessarily the strongest in terms of having a quirk, but he is really like chivalrous and he's into like being manly but in a positive way. He's super outgoing, but he's not like this guy who you don't want to be around. Yeah, he's my favorite, and then Bakugo is my second favorite. He's really tsundere when you think about it. He's really angry all the time, but he seems pretty calm around Kirishima. That's why I like them both. Bakugo is normally really outgoing, but he's more, I want to say he's more nerdy because he likes to actually study heroes and stuff like that. But I think, I don't know, I've never heard people point out that Bakugo is actually like a full-on nerd, but he is. Um, and he wants to be number one hero and stuff like that. His quirk is basically explosions, and he can make explosions out of his palm. They say his sweat is nitroglycerin, which is a chemical that I didn't do too much research on this, but it's a chemical that basically can explode. So yeah, so he can make sparks with his hands and he can make giant explosions too. So for this character, I wanted to mix their names together. First off, his name is Katsurou, and that's Katrou. Basically, Kirishima's first name is Ijiro, so I wanted to use the ro of his name. And Katsu means, I'm pretty sure it means number one, from what I've seen. And Bakugou's name, his first name is Katsuki, so I wanted to use that. So it's their two names combined, and I like to think that Kirishima is somehow more dominant, so I made his last name Kirishima, but he's not really like, but he's a mixture of both of them. So yeah. His quirk is molten lava. Basically, what I wanted to do is combine the fact that Kirishima has a hardening quirk, so he has cracks and this rock-like texture to his skin that he can form with his skin. And then on top of that, he has molten lava coming out of his pores, which is basically what I wanted to do. For the explosive part of Bakugou, it's kind of like fire and pyro stuff, so I wanted to add that. Originally, I was just gonna do a straightforward, let's just do someone who can make explosions and at the same time they can harden their skin, but I like was looking at My Hero Academia, and a lot of the times they talk about how in the anime, when it comes to like the evolution of getting quirks and stuff like that, because so many people have quirks, they're actually forced into like trying to find partners and relationships where that person's quirk is compatible with theirs, so when they have a kid, their quirk works well. There are like downsides of having a quirk. Obviously there's like sometimes your body can't handle it when you overexert yourself and stuff like that. There is someone who said that Bakugou could be, a scientific theory is that because his sweat is nitroglycerin and because that's running through his body, he might need to be in a certain mood all the time, which is like really angry all the time. So they said that that's maybe why he's super upset and angry, because he needs to lash out in order to control the chemical in his body, which makes a little bit of sense. It makes sense to me, but like again, it is anime, so there's some aspects where it's not realistic, but I'm totally fine with the whole like anime portion where it's like kind of fantasy at the same time they tried to give a scientific explanation. So yeah, that explanation is actually not like canon yet, but someone was trying to explain maybe that's why he's always like pissed off all the time and stuff like that. So I wanted to have my character Katsurou kind of be a really nice character like Kirishima, because he takes after Kirishima more, but at the same time, because of that, it's hard to control his levels of nitroglycerin in his body, so he's literally making molten lava in his body, um, and fire, basically. But it's hard for him to control that because he's more of a nice person. So I gave him kind of like this health defect because of it for my origin of Katsuro. But I think I want to borderline be realistic about the quirks as well. So yeah, but I don't want him to be super like mean like Bakugou. I like Bakugou because he's super loud, but he's not as bad as people say he is. He's becoming better too in the anime, so I think this is like a good time to like, look at that perspective of him. So yeah. So for his hair, so under his eye there is a red scar that I made. It's kind of to match Kirishima's quirk, where when he was a kid, he actually wanted to go to the washroom, and then he rubbed his eye, and then he created this scar that lasts forever on top of one of his eyes. Sometimes the creator said he forgets to draw that as well, but I wanted to add in a scar for Katsurou because I thought that would match Kirishima, but I didn't want it in the same place, so I made it under his eye instead. And he also has like a lot of cracks with molten lava coming out. And for his hair, it's short like Bakugou's and spiky like a pom-pom like Bakugou's, but at the same time I wanted the colors to be a mix of Kirishima's and Bakugou's hair. So you'll see I put some black. So Kirishima's hair is actually dyed red. It's not naturally red. I know there are some characters where they don't really explain, but they could be born with like unnatural hair colors. Like there's Nejire, which is basically she has like this silverish blue hair. And I know that's not really like a natural hair color. Also, Shoto, he's born with red and white hair, and Deku has green hair too. So those are not natural colors, but they're born with it by genetics. But Kirishima's is actually just dyed hair. It's not like genetically made. So I wanted to add some black to emphasize the fact that his natural hair color is black. But at the same time, basically the black is mainly on the roots of Katsuro's hair, and then the ash blonde, platinum blonde is on the like outside of his hair. It kind of highlights his hair. And I added in some red hair dye to his actual hair, like the horn parts that match Kirishima, and also like the front of his bangs and his eyebrows. I just wanted to add some red so that way everyone knew that it was like related to Kirishima, but like not too much. So Katsuro doesn't really dye his hair that much. He just dyes it a little bit to go after Kirishima, but it's not like his whole hair. I wanted to emphasize that there was like a mix of Bakugou as well, so that's why I added that. So the next thing is his costume. His costume is was easier than drawing the hair and thinking about the concept of how the hair should look. I originally wanted to go for long hair because I really like the fact that some guys have longer hair, so I wanted to do like a Kirishima thing, but then I went with shorter hair because Bakugou doesn't really have long hair, so genetic wise, I wanted to do like he doesn't really grow his hair out that long and he wants to keep it short like Bakugou. For his shoulder blades, because Kirishima has shoulder blades that look like cogwheels, but I didn't really want to do the same thing over and over again and just copy from Kirishima's costume. So I took Bakugou's actual neck piece that he wears, that's that metal thing that looks like a machine of some sort, and I made it into just shoulder blades, so they're not attached to each other in any way, and they're just shoulder blades, and they have 2 red horns on top of them, but they still have the 3 signature holes that they have on the metal parts. So yeah, for his shirt, I colored it in black. I just wanted to match their colors. I didn't want to add the orange X because it was, I don't know. I wanted it to be a good balance between Kirishima and Bakugou, but not like the same exact replica of their clothing, because it would be a bit too much. I wanted to stick with like my own design as much as possible, but at the same time I'm branching off from what they already have. I did at a point think about giving him like gauntlets like Bakugou, but Kirishima doesn't wear any, so I wanted, and also I didn't want him to carry like too many heavy things into battle since he already has, his shoulder blades are heavier than Kirishima's because they are made out of like full-on metal. I don't know what Kirishima's actual like shoulder blades are made of, but they look pretty light and they're just for like design. So yeah, for his shirt I colored it in black because Kirishima has black sleeves that he wears with his hero suit. So I just thought that was a good color to, that they both had in common with their hero costumes. Um yeah, I didn't want to do a character with another like black costume just because I keep drawing characters with either black or white shirts all the time, but because it matched them so well, I had to do it for this drawing. Of course, I made him like really buff because both of them are like super fit. Yeah. I really like drawing muscle definition, and like I focus on doing like the collarbone area and stuff like that. That's just something that I always like doing for some reason. So I always draw those like really detailed. So you'll notice like the collarbone structure and everything on the neck area too. That's what I focused on. By the way, I forgot to mention his hero name. So I was thinking about hero names and I was asking my friend. There was a couple thoughts going around, ideas coming about with me and my friends. I was gonna say Lava Riot, or my friend was gonna say, what was it? There was something else. I think it was like Explosion Riot or something, because Kirishima's hero name Red Riot actually branches off of Crimson Riot, which is his favorite hero. But yeah, I wanted to pay respects to Crimson Riot as well because, you know, Kirishima's favorite hero. But instead I asked my other friend and he said maybe try Murder Riot. No, wait, it's Red Murder. So yeah, so instead of keeping Riot, I kept the red, and then Murder is for Lord Explosion Murder, which is Bakugou, so it's Red Murder. You know, it's not really a hero-ish name, especially considering that Bakugou didn't really choose a hero-like name to begin with in the beginning of the anime. I don't know, I've heard like a lot of names going around for Bakugou actually, but they're not like canon yet. Like there's one where it's Ground Zero, but from what I heard it's not canon. Like my friend was telling me that's just something that the fans made up. So yeah, but I prefer Lord Explosion Murder. It just sounds so like grand. So yeah. I know it's not like kid friendly or hero friendly, technically speaking, but whatever name he wants. Um, so for his sleeves, I added red, and I did add a belt that looks like Bakugou's, but instead of doing green and orange, I did red and orange to match Kirishima and Bakugou at the same time, and then I added that skirt cape thing that Kirishima has connected to his own belt, so I wanted that too. I didn't put a R on it because Katsurou starts with a K, so yeah, but I didn't want the whole like logo thing because I wanted to match Bakugou at the same time. I was thinking about putting grenades. I was so tempted, but then I was like, that's not his quirk anyways, so I shouldn't put it. I'm really used to drawing Kirishima and Bakugou like separately, so yeah. I gave him this ash color gray for his pants and his gloves. His gloves are like fingerless gloves because I feel like he doesn't need to have like full-on gloves because Kirishima wears sleeves that go up to his, like they're attached to his middle finger, and that's it. But for Bakugou, he wears like full-on gloves, so I wanted to do like a glove but without the finger parts, so that way it's like a mixture of both. So yeah. I would say the signature part for Kirishima that I gave Katsurou is his actual the horns and the teeth. As for the scar, as for Bakugou, it's more so the hair and the eyes. So actually, Kirishima has bigger eyes than Bakugou. Bakugou's is more like, I don't know, he's always wincing, so his eyes are like really, or cringing, so his eyes are really like narrow in comparison, and they're more flat. I feel like Kirishima, when I saw like the original like anime artwork, his eyes are like super round, like they're rounder and bigger compared to Bakugou's. So I tried to do an in between where it kind of looks a bit flat on the top like Bakugou's, but at the same time they're wide like Kirishima's. So yeah, so I tried to do that as best as I could. Um my favorite part, I have to say, has to be his face. I really like it. The hero costume wasn't like something that I was super like focused about because it was really easy coming up with the idea. I think what really was difficult was more so the hair, just trying to mix two hairstyles together and combine them. They're similar, and even Kirishima mentions that in the anime where their hair is similar because it's like spiky and going around. But I think it was just difficult in terms of like the color and also like the way I wanted the hair to go. Um, if I should give like Kirishima's like spikes and stuff like that. And I thought that was like a signature look for him, so I added them in. The only thing that I didn't add was a mask. I'm kind of happy I didn't add a mask by the end of it because, to be honest, there's a lot that I wanted to add to his face, like his scar and stuff like that, and I was gonna give him a mask like Kirishima, and I completely just forgot about it. But it turned out better, so that way you can actually see his face. And also, not all of the heroes necessarily wear masks, I have to say, so it's fine. And yes, Katsurou is all about being super manly and chivalrous and really kind. Um, he's sort of headstrong like Bakugou and Kirishima. His personality is more soft though. He's not really super pushy about like being number one and stuff like that. I feel like I wanted to make a character that was more like Kirishima and less like Bakugou for personality wise, but at the same time he's like really headstrong about doing the right thing and being a hero in terms of like protecting people and stuff like that. But he's more of a people person than Bakugou is. So that's the personality that I wanted to go for. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. I will leave a link in the description box below with my social media. I'm going to post all the process work for him. Let me know if you have any characters from any animes you want me to draw in the comment section. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Bye!